Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. Have you ever found that every time you're trying to add a little bit more yardage at your irons or your wood, you start hitting the ball everywhere? Well, a recent client of mine, Paul, 60 years old, was just wanting some more distance. And the problem is every time he tried, he was doing exactly the same thing. The reason being, he had a golf swing that was reliant on his hands and his arms. That means it's an inconsistent swing. So he had to swing slowly. He was forced to swing slowly to hit it straighter or strike it a bit better. We needed to help him become more consistent first, to recruit more of his body. Then he could then amplify that swing to gain yardage. We did that in 3 very, very simple steps that I'm going to share with you too, because look, if you want to add more yardage but keep the accuracy, it will certainly help. Now before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button, next subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free practice guide in the description box below, so you never have to remember a thing. Okay, so let's keep this super simple. 3 steps for you. Now, what I didn't tell you about Paul was 60 years old. So you don't have to be like 20 years old to be able to do everything that I'm going to tell you here. And we added like 20 yards onto his 7-iron from 150 to 170 plus. Amazing, right? Now, we did it in 3 stages. The first stage we're going to talk about is how we generate speed. Second, how we then turn that into kind of control and accuracy. And third, how you then take it to the golf course. So first stage, speed. Speed for Paul came too much from the torso and his arms, and that is why when he tried to increase it, he would lose accuracy. I needed him to add some more control, so I needed to get speed coming from the ground and his legs too. Particularly as we get a bit older, we get weaker here. It's important, if you want an effortless swing, to use all of you. So all I did was this. I got him to make a backswing here, and it doesn't matter what the backswing is for now. I said, look, just bend your knees, and then what I want you to do is I want you to push off the ground. And as you're pushing, I want you to let the club swing down. I want you to see if you can feel the relationship between your legs and the club. Because it's your legs that release the club, not your upper body, not your arms and your hands. That was a big concept for him because he thought it was all about releasing with his hands and trying to time it. And no, the timing came from this. Now imagine, it might be better to see it from this angle. If I'm playing like baseball here, I'm going to push away from the bat, the end here, to increase that speed. What I'm not going to do is go with it. Going with it will be like this, staying here, very fixed, nothing happening. But watch, when I push away, this gets catapulted. So just a simple change in mindset, connecting with the ground, connecting with the legs. That clearly at the moment is not the full golf swing. We're going to do that in a second, the accuracy element. But it's just you connecting with the feet, the ground, to get the vertical component that exists in the swing. Now I'm sure you're going to have questions about how we strike it. We'll cover that in a second. But just for now, it's about how you feel speed. So I actually just got him hit shots. I really did just got him hitting shots like that, literally sensing this kind of acceleration coming from the ground. Now, when he first started, you might watch this, shoulders were tense, arms were tense. So he would do this, the club wouldn't release. Why? Because all this beautiful force that came up here never got transferred to the club. You've got to have oily shoulders and arms in order for this force to transfer to the end of this thing. So be prepared to mess up. Be a child, have some fun with it, right? So that's the first thing we did. Added the vertical component to this motion. Okay, that was stage number 1. Not bad, first one. Okay, stage number 2 was then saying, right, now you can feel that, let's start to add some control to this motion. Now to do that, all we did was we said, look, we don't want you to just swing with your arms, so you need to kind of sense how the feet work. So again, I got him to imagine he stood on the gigantic container, a lid of a container. And I said, what we're going to do, I want you to turn that lid on the way back. This would help him to get on a beautiful arc on the way around, turn that container on the way back, and then on the way down, turn that container back here, and then continue turning it on the way through. Simple, yeah? But it's simple if you have the arm structure. If he just continued to do this whilst turning, he'd be stuck in here. Or if he just kind of did this and picked the arms up, he'd be all over the place. So we needed to kind of get him to feel the structure of the arms too. So imagine this, you stood on this container here. Push your arms down with your biceps connected to your chest here. And all we're going to do here is turn that container backwards and forwards. I might even start off with a little movement here. Turn it the opposite way, backwards and forward. Now look, I've got that structure. Now look, watch this. As I now turn back here, turn the lid this way, where's my arms go? My arms are now going to follow this. They're going to follow what? The ground again. They're not independently just doing all this. They're going to follow with me. So I've now got some control, some structure to this. So we start with that on the lid. Now, at that stage, there was no vertical component, was there? All we're doing there is going, turn the lid back, control, turn the lid back down, and keep turning it, and you've got this lovely motion. Wonderful for your wedges, by the way, in your pitching, but with the power shots, you also need to add that vertical component into that. So what we then did is this. Okay, Paul, turn the lid. Now, imagine now you're going to add the vertical component into your backswing. So you're going to turn the lid and extend, push off the ground. Then again, on the way down, turn the lid, back down, push off the ground. So it becomes more of 1, down, 2. And it's like, well, how am I going to strike a ball like that, Danny? Well, look, his interpretation of strike was often staying down, staying level. But the problem is, then you have no acceleration. Strike doesn't come from that. You've still got to kind of get this club coming through. Strike naturally comes from your weight going forward, yes, but the acceleration comes from you pushing off the ground. And I said, just trust me on this. You will strike it. You'll find that timing. But trying to add the control element just won't work. So we said, look, now we've got sensation. Turn the lid, you've got the structure. Start to see now that as you're doing this, you've got a push here, you're going down, and you're pushing here. Just feel, see if you can feel this rhythm. So it's like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. You see how I'm almost going down and through. People think that's going to be inconsistent. I promise you. Well, it proved with Paul. 20 yards and a draw. Amazing. So start to add that in. Turn that lid. Feel the force driving the backswing up and down. Call that little clean. Will it reach? Just about, yes, good. So, and look, I'm hitting an 8 iron here. So what we're doing is we're really getting that sensation of turning the lid, adding the vertical here. Turn the lid, add the vertical. Now, what you could also do, and we did with Paul, just to kind of enhance this, I said, okay, well, what we can do is why don't we add some smaller shots into this entire motion too? So what we did, we said, look, okay, turn the lid to about here, you've got the structure, and then just from there, just imagine you're going to turn the lid on the way through and extend. So back, so smaller shots, so this won't reach. Smaller shots, just literally turn the lid and extend. So you then got the sensation of this release. Now, if you've ever been worried about strike, watch this. As you turn and you're turning the lid, you naturally keep this handle ahead to compress the ball. If you just didn't turn the lid, yes, and you extended, you would flick it. But this doesn't happen with this exercise because as you turn the lid, this naturally keeps the handle ahead and the extension here really releases that club foot power. But sometimes you might find it difficult to do at speed, so you just do some smaller swings where you turn the lid back, and from here, practice smaller little punch shots. Just punching them down there so they won't reach, but now we've got, well maybe it does reach, not far off. Now we've got a little bit of control. So then how do you then take all of that to the golf course? Well look, that alone can be still swing mechanic-y, yeah? So you've got to bring in the target with this. And the third and final thing was, I said, let's try and visualize a draw. See if you can connect this turning the lid to a shape. So like me going to you, look, I want to throw a ball a long way or throw a discus, pick my target, that's where I'm going. So we add some intent to this motion. So I got him to imagine, okay, we'll set the ball off over to the right. So where's he turning the lid? He's going to turn the lid more over here. Great, got it. Then he's extending. He's releasing more over to the right-hand side to bring it back around. And away we go. Let's have a look at this. Nice little drawing now. Ooh, got ahead of that one. Got ahead of that one. Not good for me. I didn't quite get through that one, but it doesn't matter. The reality is this. Once you've got it, feel the connection of power first. Feel how the use of the ground releases the club vertically. Second, to add the control. get this exercise here. Turn the lid, biceps connected, turn the lid. See how the ground drives the arms in on a beautiful arc on the way back, and then again on the way down. Feel that motion, backwards and forwards. Then add the vertical component to that. This would work just for wedges. This works for all of your clubs where you want power, including driver. Okay, I'll do another video next week on driver, maybe going into some of this. But for now, get that vertical component here, bang, and release through. It should really, really help. It was amazing, the difference, all right? So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with one of your friends who you think could benefit. And of course, look, there's a free practice guide in the description box below. So go and pick it up. And if you're new to the channel, for the first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. But until next week, stay safe and have a wonderful golfing week.